Hi, Beth with Whole Living Nutrition, and I want to share with you one of my family's ultimate favorite plant-based recipes. It's called magic mashed potatoes. The magic is in the broth that you use to boil the potatoes, and the ingredients are very simple. You want your favorite kind of broth, salt, pepper. I use garlic powder and onion powder, a whole onion, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, and potatoes, of course, and my secret ingredient, kombu. The magic part of the magic mashed potatoes is the steaming broth. I use the steaming broth to cook the potatoes and then to actually mash into the potatoes for amazing flavor. So the first step is to put in your broth. This is a veg broth, and it can be any brand that you like. About 4 cups will do. Then a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and probably about a teaspoon of garlic powder. Then I'm going to put an entire onion in there, an entire onion. This eventually, once we're finished cooking the potatoes, this will be blended into this liquid to mash the potatoes with later. So this is 2 large cloves of garlic to add in there for even more flavor. And this right here, my friends, is the very secret ingredient. It's called kombu. It's a seaweed, and it just lends an amazing flavor to anything that you're cooking. I'm going to simmer this in the broth when we cook the potatoes, and I'm going to remove it before we blend up the liquid to mash into the potatoes. Hi, and just a little note on that kombu. It looks like this. You can buy it at any health food store or health food market in a grocery store. You can also order it online. This is amazing in any kind of a broth or a soup, and you just want to cook it with whatever you're seasoning until you're finished cooking, and then you'll want to pull it out and remove it. So you don't actually eat the kombu, you just use it for its wonderful flavoring and nutritional properties. Magic mashed potatoes require potatoes, so Kate and I are peeling about 3 to 4 pounds of potatoes to steam up with our magic mashed potato broth. Okay, the magic in my mashed potatoes, one of the most important ingredients, is the kombu. I mentioned this earlier. My good friend, Chef Kevin, told me all about how to use kombu and how to layer flavors when we're cooking vegetables. Chef Kevin owns a restaurant, and he is an amazing chef. He's not a plant-based chef, but when we explained our eating preferences, he was more than willing to accommodate our dietary needs and share lots of different ideas on how to make our vegetable meals just as flavorful and delicious and exciting as any other meal ever was. You know I love to have kids in my kitchen, and Kate is helping me chop up the last of these magic mashed potatoes. We're going to steam these potatoes in that wonderful broth that we made a little bit earlier. I'm going to put this cool steamer into this pot right here. The broth comes to about the bottom of the steamer, and then I'm just going to add these potatoes. I like to make my potato pieces pretty tiny when I'm making mashed potatoes. It just makes the mashing part that much easier. Hi, when you're making your magic mashed potatoes at home, feel free to use whatever kind of broth you like. That's what makes these magic potatoes magic. So you can add any kind of aromatics, meaning onions, garlic, or any kind of herbs like basil, garlic, onion powder into your broth to make it yours and make it that magic flavor that you like. I like to add a seaweed called kombu, but you certainly don't have to do that. So plant-based eating is all about being creative in the kitchen, so feel free to monkey around with recipes any way you like. Our potatoes are finished, so you'll want to cook them till they're really ready to mash. These are pretty fork tender. In fact, they almost mash easily with your fork. To make our magic potatoes great, I take the potatoes out. Remember, I put the steamer plate in there. So we need to take out the potatoes, remove that steamer plate, and then we will blend up that magic broth. Okay, we're going to take out the kombu, and we're just going to set it aside. Okay, so the magic potatoes, this was the broth that we put together. It's veggie broth, it's a whole onion, it's a couple of big cloves of garlic, and some of my favorite seasonings. I use the kombu as well. Now I'm going to take a handy immersion blender. These are pretty cool. If you don't have one, you can use a regular blender. And I'm going to mix this up. phase of our magic mashed potatoes. This is our magic broth, and it's vegetable broth, kombu, garlic powder, onion powder, and a whole entire onion. I used this to steam the potatoes, so this delicious flavor was flavoring the potatoes the whole time they were cooking. I removed the potatoes from the pan, and then I used an immersion blender to blend up those delicious onions and garlic into the broth. So this is what I use for the liquid for mashing the potatoes, and it is super duper delicious. Okay, so we start mashing the potatoes. These potatoes are almost mashing themselves. I love to use a nice yellow potato, something that has a very smooth finish on it. I just add little tiny bits of the steaming broth into the potatoes until it gives me my desired consistency. So a little bit sometimes can go a long way, so just play with it and try it and see what you like the best. Magic mashed potato broth that we made also makes an awesome gravy, so we like to add a little bit of this really deliciously flavored broth all around the dinner. There you go, enjoy. You have it, a delicious plant-based meal in under 45 minutes. We've got garlic roasted Brussels sprouts, lemon pepper broccoli, wonderfully flavored quinoa with broth, and magic mashed potatoes. Enjoy.